Hello, and welcome to Quasar's information session for today. My name is Josh. I'm one of the program managers for our North American programs, and I will be leading you through this session for this afternoon. And we've got a busy day planned. I'm going to get started by introducing you to a couple of the members of the Qwasar team before getting into a little bit about why we teach the way we teach and how we teach as well, before then getting into our curriculum and our program structure, before finally covering some logistics if you would like to join. So if you do end up joining Qwasar, the two people that you will interact with most often will be our program managers. You have me here on the left and John here on the right, and it is our job to make sure that every student has what they need here at Qwasar. We're not teachers per se, we're instead managers. So our job is to make sure everyone's making consistent progress and to help those that are stuck to get unstuck. Beyond us, though, we have quite a few team members, all being led by our three co-founders here on the bottom. Going from left to right, you'll see Kwame, Gaetan, and Jennifer. And they're the three people that have built Qwasar from the ground up, and they have over 20 years of experience building programs exactly like this. In fact, Qwasar is the only innovative project-based learning platform designed for adult and young adult learners exclusively. And we've had a lot of experience doing this. In the time that we've had Qwasar, we've had over 120 projects in our ecosystem, over 900 coding exercises completed, 6,000 peer reviews completed, and over 7,000 users on our platform in total. In short, we have a lot of experience making sure people can successfully upskill and train through our platform. And here at Qwasar, we see education is a bit of a different problem than maybe it has been historically. Over time, education's been built around access to knowledge being the main problem. So think a library being the central source of all the books that you need to learn from, or a professor being the central source of knowledge, teaching it to hundreds and hundreds of students at one time. That is no longer the case in today's world, though. In today's world, you can find what you need virtually everywhere. We have Google, we have the internet, and we can find whatever knowledge that we need relatively quickly. The hard part is then how do we become creative? How do we make sure that we know how to find the right knowledge, verify that it's the thing that we need for our specific problem, and take those examples and apply it in our specific problem and really understand what's going on. So we see education as a very, very different problem. And we see it this way, and we've crafted everything to reflect what it is that you actually do in the real world. So when we built our programs, we looked at job specs, like you see here on the left, that looked for technical skills, that looked for soft skills. And we built our program to reflect that exactly, so that what you're learning in Qwasar is exactly what you need to be successful on the job. And it's not easy. Qwasar is, we teach you from the ground up. We make sure you understand everything, but our programs are difficult. And it's because for that exact reason, we want to make sure that you are successful long-term. So before joining our program, be prepared to be very passionate about programming. Be prepared to practice and practice and practice. Think about it like becoming a pro athlete. Everyone can learn, to become great at a given sport, but it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time, and a lot of practice. And it is not a passive learning environment. So if you're used to lectures where you sit back and listen, that is not going to be how you learn here at Qwasar. You're going to learn by doing, but it's going to be not as hard as you might seem, because we learn as a community. You can think of Qwasar like a mini company. We're all here to learn and grow together. And so you can always rely on those around you as you're learning. And a little bit about our curriculum. We divide our curriculum a little bit up, kind of like you would maybe see sports, using the seasons concept. And much like maybe a more traditional program where you have your prereqs and then you have your specialization, you'll see something a little bit similar here at Qwasar. That being said, we're not going to have you take English classes. We're not going to have you take physics classes. Everything you do is going to be directly based into programming or helping you get a job immediately after our programs. And what's really cool about this is all project-based learning. So you can move through our programs as fast as you can work. So everyone at Qwasar is going to get started by joining with a pre-season. That's what you see here on the left. For most people, that's going to be JavaScript. Some people, that'll be Python, but it'll be the same focus on the core fundamentals regardless. When you first join Qwasar, your job is to learn about programming, to solve problems with programming languages, and to get started by building stuff right away. So we want you to get used to kind of a more modern language where you can build stuff really fast and really see what programming can do. That being said, once you have that basic knowledge of the pre-season, then you go into season 1. Season 1 is challenging because you learn the C programming language. And yes, you might not necessarily use the C programming language after Quasar. It's a kind of an older school language, but we teach it because it forces you to understand what's going on behind the scenes. Things like memory management, other languages have built in. C makes you do it manually. And that's just one example. It forces you to understand everything that you do and makes you a really explicit programmer. And it's really important to us that everyone that goes through our training has that experience in C. This really does make you a good programmer, and it really prepares you for your specialization. And so once you get through this season 1, that's when you start to specialize in your core program. Now, for some of you, that might be software engineering. Some of you, it might be full stack. Some of you, it might be machine learning or AI or data science or app development, etc. Regardless of what that is, after you complete that season 1, you will then start to focus on your specialization. It'll be between 1 and 3 seasons long, depending on the specific program. And you actually will do career prep alongside of it as well. That's what you see here on your right. So on our right, you'll see our season TIPP, our technical interview preparation program. And that's what we use to make sure that you can ace your technical interviews. You learn that, again, alongside your final seasons, your specialization seasons, and we make sure that you're very well prepared. We help you build a resume, a GitHub, a LinkedIn, and we help you do over 40 mock technical interviews. I know it sounds like a lot because it is a lot. We want to make sure you're an expert and that you're nailing your technical interviews for after Quasar. And beyond these projects, beyond your curriculum, we still do have meetings. That being said, they're not traditional meetings. You can not expect a lecture where you sit back and passively listen. You can expect active sessions where you contribute, where you give status updates and where you work, just like you would on a job. Now, our programs will differ slightly whether you're a part of our weekday part-time programs, our weekday full-time programs, or our Saturday programs, but you can get an idea of the meetings here, of the meetings here in front of me. Regardless of the program, though, we will always start our day with a stand-up where we give status updates on what it is you've done since we've last seen you, what you plan on doing in the next day, and anything that you need help on or that you're stuck on. This reflects what it's like for most software engineers when they start their own day in the real world, and it's also what we use to make sure that you aren't stuck on anything for too long. A lot of learning comes through failure, but we don't want you stuck for more than a few days, before we connect you with someone that can help you move forward. Beyond these stand-ups, though, we have a few different types of meetings as well. We have our startup of the weeks that are focused more on building community and seeing what jobs are out there. And we also have our live coding and our coding collaboration meetings where we focus a little bit on working in groups and working on small timed exercises. And out of all of these, our coding collaboration meeting is something I like to highlight because it makes us really unique. At least once every single week as part of Quasar, you will join a session where you are split up into groups and you work with others on a time challenge, much like how a technical interview works. This is really important because building things as part of a team is almost a different skill set than building things alone. And you need to know how to communicate with others and work on code that others wrote and collaborate with them as well. These are really fun sessions. And again, we want you to get used to this format from day 1 here at Quasar. Beyond these sessions, though, and beyond your projects, we do offer quite a few ways to get support. So don't think that just because we don't have lectures, it doesn't mean that you can't get help. Here at Quasar, we have many ways you can get help. You can, of course, always reach out to John or myself, your program managers. You can go to our Guardian workshops. These take place 4 days a week, and they're run by senior students. And it's their job to help people debug problems and get through whatever their current problem is. And you can just show up to these sessions, get help, and move on. We also have a very active Discord community with a help request bot where you can submit tickets to get help on projects. You have one-on-one check-ins with your PM occasionally. And we have TIPP and BIPP programs to help you with your technical and behavior interviews when you're going on interviews. Think about our support is, our ecosystem is having a inclusive and supportive software engineering manager and community instead of like having a traditional like professor TA system. And all of these projects will take place on our hands-on coding platform called Upskill. This is our proprietary software where you can do everything from access your projects, connect with other students, see target due dates, and actually work on the projects as well. Because built in with this Upskill is something called Do Code. It's our built-in programming environment. You can see a preview of it here. but what makes it really unique is it's completely cloud-based. So you don't need a super modern or high-end computer to code. You can do that probably on the computer that you're watching us from today. I did want to share a couple projects that you could do as part of our program as well. This is one of the very first ones that you would do from our preseason. It's just an excerpt of code. If you haven't seen what code looks like before, it's one of the very first things you do. It's from a project called My Spaceship, but I actually want to highlight some of the later projects as well. This next one is probably my favorite project here at Quasar. It is My Tetris. If you're part of our full stack program, you'll get a chance to do this, and you actually build Tetris from the ground up. No templates, nothing. You build it from the ground up. And that's one of the things that makes our program really unique and also really challenging. I would say maybe a slightly less fun, but slightly more impressive project that you would also do if you're a part of our full stack program is Basecamp. That's what you see here. And it is a fully fledged project management software similar to the Basecamp software that you also build from the ground up with no templates or anything. And so these are just a couple examples of some really awesome things you could learn to build here. But I want to keep going and show you a few other features on our online platform, one of which will be peer code reviews. So when you're on these more advanced projects, in addition to built-in auto test case, again, like you would have in the real world, you also have a peer code review where you'll have someone more senior get a chance to look at your project and give feedback on it. When you're the more senior student, you can actually get exposure to doing this as well. And it's super important to do so because when you're on the job, you'll spend more time reviewing code and looking at code than necessarily writing it from scratch. And another feature that we have on our on our upskill platform is our technical interview role plays. You can see an example of it here, and we have the ability for you to practice being an interviewer and an interviewee. That way you have all the practice that you need before going off and doing real interviews. And we've had a lot of success doing this. You can see here on the left a couple of the job titles our learners have had, and a couple of the companies they've gone to here on the right. But we've had a lot of success with students going to companies such as large companies like Expedia, Tesla, Microsoft, Workday, to very successful startups like Pilot and Blend and Evercast, and consulting companies as well like Capgemini, Revolut, and more. We've had a lot of success. We're big believers that you're going to love what you do. You're going to do better at what you do if you love what you're doing. And so we have a wide variety of employer partners that we work with and that you could go to after Quasar. You can see a few of them here on the right. These are companies that recruit directly from us and that you get preferential treatment from. And just a couple of them below are Workday, LinkedIn, Home Depot, Airbnb, and more. Now, if you want to join, there's only a couple things that you need to do. Our next start date will be July, either 11th or 15th, whether you're a Tuesday or a Saturday student. And the join Quasar costs $2,400 in total, but you can actually pay it either upfront or over time at either $100 or $200 per month. And to apply, you can just follow this link below. It's as simple as going to quasar.io/apply. A little bit of more logistical info about our program. It is completely self-paced. So all of those seasons I covered earlier, all those projects that I showed you earlier, while we do have anticipated deadlines and we'll push you to make sure that you're making progress every week, you can totally move as fast as you would like. And our programs can be a little bit flexible in terms of length for that exact same reason. You can check out our individual programs here to give an estimate on how long your specific program could take. But in general, our part-time programs take between 12 to 18 months, and our full-time programs take between 7 to 12 months. But again, you will get out what you put in, and you can certainly go faster if you're willing to put in 40 plus hours per week. Next, I want to showcase a testimonial from one of our alumni, Mamadou, who is now an SRE at LinkedIn. He gave an example of how Quasar prepared him in a variety of ways, both technically and professionally. You can see that Mamadou said that we helped him get his feet wet by learning programming topics, by going through going through the projects forced him to ask himself how to solve problems by Googling and by researching, etc. So this is just one of many successful students that have gone through Quasar, and we would love for you to join as well. You're absolutely capable of making this transition into the tech industry, but I never want to sugarcoat things. It does take a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of passion, a lot of dedication, and a lot of practice. But it is this difficult because we want you to be trained for the real world and to be able to get a job after our programs. And if you do join, you'll gain the confidence and the skills that you'll need to be ready for the industry. And that's all I have for you today. That being said, if you have any questions at all, I'm always happy to answer them, and you can reach out to me at this email below. It is just josh@quasar.io. And that is all I have for you today. I really enjoyed getting you to giving you the chance to learn more about Quasar. I hope that you join and that you reach out to me if you have any questions, and that you have a great rest of your day.